So I wanted to see if I can share here. Is that it? No, that's not what I want to do here. Let's go back here and back here. Okay, so I wanted to work with the breath today, and just a quick reminder for everybody about the, why does it keep giving me this ad? Go away ad. When we're breathing, the work of the diaphragm here. So this gives you a side view of your lungs. When you inhale, you've got your diaphragm right here. And when you exhale, how far up your diaphragm actually can go. And when we talk about, we're talking about this because if we can't get that full exhale in, well, then we can't invite a nice full inhale. So I want you to, we've talked about this. If you've been in classes with me, we've talked about this a lot, but some people are newer, or maybe we just need a reminder that when we exhale, we want to exhale out as much as we can. And really, it's not a pushing it out. It's not really using all my muscles to do that. It's letting it go, right? Getting upside down and letting the exhale go out. And we've been kind of interspersing these neural hacks, and this is probably number one. Can I exhale and really let go? And it's kind of like that sigh of relief. Can I let it go? And so that'll be our theme for today when we look at the exhale here and our class. So I'm going to stop the share, come back to me here. And let's see. So diaphragm is our major breathing muscle. You can kind of think of it at that area in the ribs, where we've talked a lot about ribs last few weeks too. So the complete exhale allows a full inhale. So we're going to start out. Oh, I wanted to say, make sure you've got a strap or a kitchen towel. You can take your kitchen towel diagonally. The block might be handy, but not completely necessary if you don't have one. So I'm going to start out on our feet though. And let's just take a few of those breaths as you come into standing pose. You notice I've got my feet a little bit wide. Just let the breath come in. And if you can think about the breath going in, down toward that belly button, down to hit the diaphragm, and then exhale. And imagine it can come all the way up, almost in between the breasts, like it into your chest. It may not come all the way up there, but it actually does come up and touch the heart. So that's pretty far up. Inhaling and exhaling. Letting the shoulders come down, letting that breath totally go out. So if we do nothing else today, if we could do that the rest of the day, we'll feel that effect in the body, better sleep, clearer mind, all that good stuff. So taking your feet a little bit wider, and then let's turn out your right foot, and then turn in your left foot. And turning that back foot in a little bit, because we talked about the knees last week, last week. It's all blurring together. And we want to have that back foot, knee, hip in a nice alignment. And then taking that front knee, we'll bend it and then straighten. Inhale. Exhale to bend. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Inhale to straighten. And exhale to bend. And inhale. And exhale. So if I really go along with the breath, my movement isn't very fast. As I'm taking a deeper breath, it takes a little longer. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And letting your shoulders release, jaw release, inhale. And exhale. Good. And then just checking out, we've talked about your knee alignment in line with your middle toes here. And also you'll notice my knee is above my ankle, but it could go above my arch or even above my toes. But the further I go out little bit more challenging to hold myself there. I also want to feel that back foot still. Breath. Good. Let's take the arms up, fingertips together. And then reaching them out, kind of dynamically reaching them out. You'll notice I'm not just flinging them out, I'm really tips as I can. Breath, breath. Go ahead and take the eyes on that journey, looking over the fingertips. Breath into the side ribs. Maybe look back behind you. Yep, we're still holding this pose, right? Feeling our feet. Let's lift that front heel up just to make something a little more interesting. Front heel can lift up, doesn't have to be the highest lift you have. And then slowly lowering that heel down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Landing that heel, press it down so much that you start to straighten that front leg. Coming to straight legs, bringing the arms down. And then taking a breath here in center. Just noticing the breath again, the jaw. Just gonna quick make sure we're all muted. Okay, and then turning your foot out to the second side. So left foot turns out, right toes turn in, knee is turning in, that back leg swivels in, right? The top of the thigh swivels in and the hips kind of come along for the ride. And then bending this knee, inhaling to straighten, exhaling to bend, inhaling to straighten. So if you could follow your breath rhythm here, and instead of mentally thinking inhale, exhale, what if we just let the exhale ride its way out? And when your inhale comes, then you just go ahead and start to straighten. Cue into the body, what's it doing? Exhaling when you're ready. Holding there till the exhale is done. Inhaling to straighten. Exhaling to bend. When your inhale comes in, exhaling. When you're ready to exhale. Good. Letting that knee find its spot over the heel, over the arch, even so much as over the toes, it's okay. Just a lot more work the more we go out with that knee, right? And then take your chest a little more toward your screen. And this time we'll come up into cactus arms with our hands. So your elbows, it's almost like you want to bring your elbows forward toward the screen, toward the front body. And then as we keep those elbows there, we're going to reach out, straightening out, reaching through the fingertips. Some good fascia work going on, hopefully in your arms as well. So that front knee, still in line with my middle toes. Let's see if we can lift the heel. Again, it doesn't have to be a big lift. You could lift high if you'd like. A little bit more room to lower down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Landing that foot down and then landing it so far down, it goes down through your floors into the ground and straightening your leg. And then dropping the arms and coming to center. Breath. Exhale, long exhale. Long exhales calm the nervous system. All this information we're taking in, the worries, the news, the list of things we have to do, letting it go with the exhale. And then stepping to the top of your mat or the top of your space. And inhale again, inhaling into the ribs here. And exhaling, taking your arms out and up. And inhaling, going forward with the body, inhaling into that forward fold. Lots of knee bend if you'd like, let the head bow. And the next time you come to that exhale, coming to gorilla. So hands are at top of my knees, lengthening the back of the neck, looking toward the floor, and then inhaling forward again. And exhaling, taking the arms out and up. And bringing the hands back down. Next exhale, so watching for your next exhale, arms out and up. Inhaling, forward fold. Exhaling, long exhale, gorilla pose. So let that exhale ride its way out, calming the nervous system. We're not in a rush here. Inhaling, forward fold. Filling up the back ribs, the back lungs, and then exhaling, arms out and up. Good. And bringing your hand or your feet back to center here. I'll bring them a little wider than we just had them. And I'll let my toes turn out a little bit. Toes turning out just a little bit. And really feeling my feet, maybe lifting up the heel and feeling the toes, lifting up the other heel, toes, ball of the foot. Breath. Can you exhale and even kind of sink into this really high sumo pose, right? Sinking in, I got a little knee bend, a little hip bend. I really can feel my feet then. And then dropping down a little bit more. And inhaling to come up. And exhaling all the way down. Watching your exhale, don't cut it off, just let it go. And then when the inhale comes in, coming up. Inhaling when you're ready, coming up. When the exhale comes, come down. Inhaling, coming up. And exhaling, coming down. Good. Using this next inhale, slowly coming up. With your inhale, you're drawing in that whole time toward your belly button as you slowly straighten the knees. Good. More bang for the buck. Exhale. One more like that. Inhaling downward as your knees straighten. Good. And exhaling down. Bringing your weight forward, lifting both heels. Again, doesn't have to be the Mongo biggest lift you can do. Just finding a good spot. And lowering one heel down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tap and lift. Other heel. Slowly lowering. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tap and lift. Both heels. 5, lowering down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Landing the heels. Again, putting them down through the basement, through your floors, and then slowly pressing down to come up. Good. So if their heart rate got up a little bit, inhale, exhale, just noticing, and stepping your feet underneath you. Good. So I find that this strap work, towel work we do really does help also with the breathing, because we get the shoulders involved, we get that kind of armpit rib cage area involved, and it can be really powerful, not only to keep our shoulders in great alignment, but also in strength, but also for the breath, right? So let's go ahead and find your strap or towel. And step your feet apart, not quite as wide as we were with sumo here. You'll hear me maybe with my microphones right here, just really concentrating on that exhale, letting it go out the mouth, out the nose, whatever works for you. And then let's pull on that strap. I'm going to pull it straight out to the sides, give my elbows a little more bend because I have a lot more connection into my shoulders that way. So you decide how much you're going to pull on the strap. That you can only tell how that feels for you. When you're connected all the way into the shoulders, shoulder blades, upper back. And then let's take that up halfway. Shoulder height and back down. Exhaling. and inhaling. And exhaling up and inhaling down. And soften your stance a little bit. Can you feel your feet? Is there a little softness in your knees? Up, inhale down. This time, let's come up and bend the knees. Pulling right here, little sumo squat. Get a little bit high in my sumo squat. I'm gonna let my hands go out a little bit on my towel or strap and come overhead. Exhale overhead, inhale back to shoulders. Exhale overhead, inhale back to shoulder height. Exhale. If you get tired, you can always come up to standing and continue the arm work. If you want more challenge, you could sink down a little bit more. A little bit more. Bring your weight into the balls of the feet too. And then coming down with the arms, straightening the knees. Good, feeling a little warm in the shoulders. And the heart rate got up there a little bit. So exhale. Exhaling also will start to lower your heart rate. So you'll feel that it might go up, up, up on the inhale, and then the exhale, your heart rate actually starts to slow down. And that's how your body regulates. Nice, so let's take that overhead, just so we don't miss this wonderful opportunity for stretching overhead. And let's pull it down behind the head. You want to keep that strap kind of close to your head. You just want to make sure you're not jutting your head forward to make space for it. So it's okay if your elbows only come down to the top of your head, or your strap only comes to the top of your head, your elbows come down part way, kind of into a W here. And it's also all right if they want to come down a little bit further. Push up. Keep pulling on your strap if you want a little more work here. And exhale. If you haven't been doing this stuff for, the last 6 months or something, take it easy on yourself, do fewer reps, pull a little less hard. And then bring that down and around in front. Nice. So let's put that strap down for the moment. And then turning your body, maybe you can look straight at the screen here. Next inhale, maybe feeling that in the back ribs here. We have a lot of lung tissue in the back as well. Inhaling here. And exhaling, arms out and up. Inhaling, forward fold. Exhale, gorilla pose. Let that exhale ride its way out. When you're ready, inhaling, we're going to bring your hands down to the floor. Step back as many steps as you need to come to down dog. So finding the hands to plant, spreading the fingers and all the parts of the fingers touching the mat. And then I have a lot of bend in my knees to take my hips back over my feet. I want to take the weight off my wrists, off the hands. I want the hands to be active, but not necessarily taking all my weight. Those breaths are still nice and present. Good. Now let's bring the knees down to the floor. Walk the knees back a little bit if they came down right under your hips. And then let the hips come forward. So you're in a knee down plank, pressing the floor away from you, head in line with the spine. And you might notice here, your belly needs to turn on, helping you kind of support the hips, support the back. And taking that breath in is still the part of the practice that we'd like to do. So inhaling toward your belly button. And you'll notice with the belly pulled in, you've got a little bit of a container. So let's lower down here. Let's unravel the toes, let the toes be flat. Full exhale, reaching out the crown of the head. Long back of the neck. I'm going to let the nose and chin float up. Continuing to reach. The further I come up, the more my belly wants to come on, needs to come on. And then let's try a few breaths here. So keeping that breath deep, that idea of inhaling toward your rib cage, toward the bottom of the rib cage, and then full exhale. Inhale. And exhale. It's like doing diaphragm push-ups, isn't it? It's a little bit harder here with the body in this position. We've created that container for the belly with the floor. So if it feels kind of hard to make that bigger inhale, that's about right. Come on down and rest. And then using your shoulder blades as they come in onto the back a little bit, your hands are planted here at your sides, using that if you'd like to as like a push-up type action to come up to your knees, to come back to downward dog. Full breath in toward your belly button in downward dog, full exhale. Taking a little mini breath as you walk forward, and then exhaling in gorilla. Inhaling forward fold, and exhaling arms out and up. Inhaling arms come back down. Good. Next, exhale, bringing arms out and up. Inhaling forward fold. And your exhale brings you to gorilla. Letting it all finish. Stepping back to downward dog. Couple of breaths in downward dog. Full exhale, let the head and neck go best we can. Letting the shoulders and neck have that benefit. Plank pose. We did a knee down plank. You're welcome to do that one again. Knees down, pressing the floor away, or perhaps the knees are up, reaching through the heels. If the legs are up, you're really working a little bit more with the quads, the legs, to help support you. And can you still take that nice breath in toward the belly button? That's the key. Exhale all the way. And then lowering down. Perhaps using that, knees come down, and then using that as a lower down like a push-up. And extending the toes out again. Good. We'll leave the upper body kind of where it is here. Shoulders releasing, kind of nice and easy in the neck, nose and chin hover. And instead, work a little bit with the feet, reaching the toes back behind you so much that you lift one leg up and reaching the other foot back behind you toward the wall on the other side of the room, wherever that is for you. Reaching your toes long to lift. Doesn't have to be that you lift really high with the legs. And then taking a breath or two. Full exhale. And if you wanted to add the upper body from the last time, coming up a little bit, doing those diaphragm push-ups as you inhale toward your belly button. This is hard work. If you haven't been doing it, taking a break, coming down to rest at any point. Then lowering the legs will all come downward. Softening the mouth and jaw, drawing the shoulder blades onto the back. Pressing down to lift, to press yourself away from the floor and come up, turning your toes under. Downward facing dog. Letting the exhale ride its way out. And then stepping the feet forward. Gorilla pose. And then inhale, forward fold. Filling up the back of the lungs with that air, and exhaling, arms coming out and up. And bringing the hands back down. Inhale. Nice. So we're going to take ourselves down to the floor. Whatever way works for you to come down to the floor. We've been working a lot on getting up and down off the floor, working a lot with squatting, with finding your way down. So if you wanted, you could use, you know, your weight, kind of counterweight out in front, see how far you can come down in your squat, all the way down to the floor. We've done cross legs, cross toes, but come down to a seated position. And if it's comfortable, you can sit in cross-legged. If that's not comfortable, your feet could be out in front. And then we're going to bring our hands to the back of the head. Breath. Connecting to the breath so I can have that overall sense of well-being, that relaxation mode, resetting the nervous system. And we're just going to take a little bit of a twist here, working with the rib cage a little bit. And coming back to center. And then the other way. Exhale and back to center. So I'm kind of fine tuning here, trying to leave my legs and my pelvis out of this. Not doing a huge movement. Who says we need a big movement? And maybe the breath really is creating that movement as I inhale and exhale. If your legs are really bothering you, there's lots of grabbing. You might have your feet a little more like this out in front and your knees bent. That might help you sit up on your sit bones. Still the same thing. I'm not shifting in the legs, not going so far that my hips need to come along. Really want to work more right here in the center, right where that diaphragm is. Let's do one more to each side. And then coming back to center. And I'm just going to switch my position so I'm on my mat all the way here. And then let's roll ourselves down. So grabbing onto the backs of the legs, feet, you could have your heels digging in a little bit here. I'm going to slowly roll back. You'll find a spot where you know you could come back up, but we're just going to come all the way down to the floor anyway. So finding your way down to the floor. And then bringing your hands back to where they just were behind the head. Letting your elbows come in a little bit more. However, the last one, my elbows might have been out quite a bit. Let them come in a little bit as I lift my head just off the mat. Let your head be really heavy into your hands. And see if you can draw this nice breath in again, toward the belly button. Full exhale. And on the next exhale, your next exhale, slowly coming up into the mini crunch, lifting the shoulders away. Seeing if you can pause here, hold here, shoulders coming away from the mat as you breathe. And I briefly mentioned a container. Right now, the muscles holding you up. Let's take one more breath. As you inhale, we'll come back. As we were up there, as you come down, you can rest. As we were up there, we were using all those muscles to help hold ourselves up. And taking the breath in, we took it right into a container. There wasn't a huge, easy belly to let that air come in way down deep and let things be really flaccid. So that's actually a positive for your breathing. not to do it all the time, but to practice it, to give your lungs and your diaphragm a little bit of that workout again. So let's do that again. Hands behind the head, exhaling to come up. And as we hold here, and continue to want to bring that breath in. And the breath out is a lot easier. Inhaling gets to be a little bit of a push-up. Diaphragm push-up. Exhale. Full exhale. Next inhale, slowly coming back. And resting the head. And bring your hands out, bring them alongside the body. Now in Tuesday's class, we worked a lot with the 100 and some precursors to the 100, and we talked a little bit about the neck. So I wanted to, before we do this next one, give you lots of options, lots of permission to have your hand behind your head to support your neck, because this is a journey. It's not necessarily that we get this neck strength or belly strength, because they're really working together. There's a little neck going on, but a lot of belly, right? So if you need that hand behind your head, just use one or both hands. So I'm going to bring my hands back to alongside the body. I'm going to lift my head off. Definitely to lift my head off, I'm going to use those neck muscles. But then as I want to bring my shoulders up and come up into this crunch, reaching through my fingertips, it's almost like we have that strap that we're holding out here for the hands. And then I'm going to slowly lower back. Rest the head and neck and throat. And then try that again. Lift the head. Exhaling, reaching through the fingers, or as though we have that strap to pull us up. And then lower back. Good. Let's smooth out the throat in case you use that a little bit. Smooth it out right down into the chest. Nice deep breath. And let's just do half of the 100. So I'm going to use that same movement. Head comes up, upper body comes up. I'm going to leave my feet on the floor, but if you like, you could bring your feet up, your knees up, and I'm going to start to bounce the hands. Inhaling, 3, 4, and exhaling, 2, 3, 4, inhaling, and exhaling, and inhaling, and exhaling. Hand could be helping, and inhaling, and exhaling, and inhaling, and exhaling, and then coming back. We've done 5 or 6 breaths of the whole cycle. That's half of the 100. When you get to 10 breaths, that's the 100. So let's rest back. Good work. It's not very easy stuff. Good. And so now I'm going to roll over. Let's come to hands and knees. So let's incorporate. We've done some rib stuff. We've done some hand and strap stuff. What if we had an idea of that strap in hands and knees? That pulling of the strap, I could even think about my elbows working outward a little bit, just a little bit. Not so much that I'm bending way out like that, but a little bit of outward motion with my elbows, pressing down with my hands. And then just noticing in the core, after we did that little bit of ab work, can you feel your ribs pulling in a little bit? Not the ribs, but the muscles around the ribs. And can you still take that inward breath? Full exhale out. Inward breath. And exhale out. Adding on here, shifting your weight to lift one knee. Doesn't matter which one, bringing your toes to the floor behind you. Still connected with the hands, lifting the back leg. Still connected, Maybe your one hand comes out. Opposite hand will probably be easier. Maybe lifting that hand up, bird dog. Still find the breath. Full exhale. Hands and knee coming back and finding your middle ground again. So if this bothers in the wrists at all, go ahead and come up onto your fingertips or rest back. And then coming to neutral again. So finding the hand, a little bit of bend in my elbows. Not so much that I can't press up and away from the mat. And then shifting my weight just a little to take that other knee back, other foot comes back. I'm gonna find the floor. Find the breath. Maybe my hand comes out. Fingertips. Lifting the foot. Checking it out if I wanna lift the hand. Can you still take those breaths in, down toward the belly button? Exhale, full exhale. Good work. And then bringing the hand and knee back and resting back into a child's pose. Maybe turning the palms upward, waving the fingers in, or even moving the wrists in circular motion. Find that nice middle ground breath. Full exhale. Inhaling into the back body, into your back lungs, and exhaling, letting it all go. And we're going to work our way again from the floor up to standing. And it's your choice how you do that. Do you find a foot coming forward? Do you rest on your knee to find your way up, turning your toes under back here, working your way up to standing? Or you could bring the feet together and roll up, finding your way up to your feet. And stepping the feet apart. And softening the jaw. Seeing how you feel here. Let's turn that right foot out, left toes turning in. Mouth and jaw soft. And then bending that front knee. Finding your sweet spot. You can come in and out a couple of times. Back leg nice and straight and connected into the back foot. I'm going to let my hips, my headlights, we talked about the pelvic crest, kind of like the headlights on the car. I'm going to let them turn a little more toward my front leg. I'm not going to make them go that way. But then I'm going to tip the pelvis over, way over the top of this thigh, and bring my hand or my elbow down here. Whatever feels like a good spot for you. We often talk about if we can't take the breath in the pose, maybe the pose isn't working well for us, right? So kind of continuing that breath thought, can I breathe here okay? And as I add on options, can you still breathe? So let's take your hand to your heart space. Let's turn your heart space a little bit more toward your screen. And then check in with the breath. Still able to exhale. And then bring your hand to your waist. And then bringing that hand upward. Breath. Letting that shoulder drop away from your ear. Breath. If you'd like more challenge, lightening up your load here on the front leg, or even taking that support away. So all these options. Can I still breathe? Full exhale. Looking upward if you'd like to challenge your balance. Looking downward. And then pressing down so much through the front foot that you find your way upward. Coming to center. Turning the toes forward Here it might be nice to have your block. We're going to do wide leg forward fold. If you know you can come to the floor with the fingertips, you won't need it. The seat of a chair works really well as well. So my toes are a little more forward or even turned in. Nice deep breath. Exhale, folding forward. And soften my knees, a little bit of bounce in the knees, and then take the hips back, or I should say the sit bones back, not really your hips so much, to a nice forward position. It can be nice to have this block or something here for the intermediary pose. And then when you're ready, if you'd like, breath comes in, breath goes out. Next inhale, coming down. So maybe the fingers, you've got long arms, long torso, letting the head go, but especially letting the breath go. Today, my theme is not so much on the hamstrings, not so much on what kind of stretch can I get here, but how much can I release in the breath? How full can that inhale be? How much can I release in the exhale? When you're ready, coming up halfway. I like to come up slowly just to make sure I don't see stars. Blood pressure has time to come along with me to come all the way up. And then if you need to, make some adjustments with the feet and then step your feet back to that medium wide and turning out your left foot and turning in your right foot. Letting your hips go along for the ride, turning them a little more toward the front leg as you bend your front knee. Tipping the pelvis over, hand or elbow to the knee. And then let's start with our hand on our low belly, so just below your belly button, and open that space a little more toward your screen or forward. And then your heart space, if it didn't come along, it can continue to open. We have more twisting again in that rib area, and bringing your hand to your waist. And can we breathe here? Can you breathe here pretty easily? And the lower you go with your elbow, by the way, that might be more difficult, right? I often will keep my spine and my ribs a little more open here. Hand might come up. Shoulder might drop away from the ears. I might turn my head to look up, I might not. I might turn my head to look down. Pressing down so much through that left foot that you straighten up and come up to standing. Nice. And stepping the feet underneath you. Good. Hope everybody's doing okay out there in cyberland. Let's come down to your knees. So again, an opportunity to come down. If coming onto the knees sounds like not a great option for you, a blanket to support your knees or sitting on a chair will work for this. So if that's a need for you, please do that. Just going to be on our knees for a little bit here, but we will be kind of upright like this for a few minutes. I've actually got my blanket on my tops of my feet because this rug is not real comfortable. So I'm just giving myself a little bit of cush. But I want to be able to feel the knees, the shins, the tops of the feet a little bit. And then we're going to bring our arms up. Just noticing here if you can release any of the muscles in your lower body and let grounding happen. So it's really different because we're usually grounding through the feet. Can you ground? It's not an active thing. It's a releasing the knees, releasing the shins, releasing the tops of the feet down. And then bringing one hand down and giving ourselves a little side bend. Reaching with this hand that's still up and then bringing that arm back up. Checking in with your lower body. Other arm comes down. Reach over. Other arm comes up and down. And reach. Release the legs downward. Up. Exhale over. And coming back up. One more for good measure. Maybe this is your biggest movement. You really like how this feels in the flank or in the ribs. Coming back up. And last side. And then both arms come down. Good. So maybe you have a blanket already here for you, which I do. And maybe you'd like a little bit of something to sit on. We're gonna do a cross-legged position. And again, if cross-legged doesn't feel good, it can help to sit up higher, or we can take the legs straight out. So cross-legged doesn't feel good, we can always take the legs out. Yeah, so I'm sitting up on something a little bit. You can be doing that too if you'd like. A pillow works, a bolster works, a blanket. And then don't worry about how your legs are crossed, doesn't matter if they can cross. Otherwise, straight out in front. Now remembering that we'd like to keep everything in the lower body just nice and settled downward. Keep thinking about how we had it in the last pose. The knees were down, the shins, everything's just releasing downward, including the hips. And then taking your right hand out to the floor and your left hand across the body. And just notice already how you're twisting and how that twist is mostly above your belly button. And we want to kind of keep it that way. The twist is above my belly button. It's not for the SI joint. It's not for my low back. And let your head come along for the ride. And just notice those breaths again. And doing a lot of talk about a container, about the diaphragm. And as we twist that diaphragm, first we kind of give the breath another little place to grow. Finding the breath in, full exhale out. And then coming back to your center. And then we'll try the other side, bringing my hand out to the side. If your hand doesn't make it down, if you're up on something, you can have your hand on a block back here too. And then crossing over, taking that hand across. And just noticing before you start to push or pull toward that side, how you've already twisted, how it's already, you're feeling that movement in the ribs, right around center of the body, a couple inches above the belly button. And your head can go along for the ride. The mouth and jaw can soften. Encouraging a couple of middle deep breaths. Full exhale. Middle deep breath. Full exhale. And then coming back to center. Good. Every now and then wanting to go back to having at least an hour and 10 minutes with you. But we're going to end up here, one more pose of relaxation / meditation. So I'm going to come down. I'm going to use my strap again. I'm going to use my blanket. It's optional whether you use your blanket or not. I'm just going to give my blanket a little more height. So now I've got a roll that's a little bit higher. If I had a bolster, I might use that. If you only have a block, you could use the block as well. The blanket's just a little more comfy. I'm going to come down, have all my tools right where I can grab them. Come down into the floor. And first order of business will be to see if I can place this blanket underneath the hips. So pushing down with my feet, lifting the hips up, and seeing if I can get that blanket underneath the sacrum. Again, this might take a little bit of adjusting. You could have a wider blanket and then you don't need so much adjusting. Because now I'm going to bring my feet up and just see how that feels. Is that in a good spot? Not a good spot? Do I need to make a little adjustment? Feet come down, lift the hips, make a little adjustment, and grab onto my strap. If you have your kitchen towel still, that'll work. If it's long enough, it's nice to have those big drying towels, dish drying towels. Those are the nice length. And then I'm going to just use my strap to hold my legs. I'm going to try not to work my arms. Just grabbing onto the strap is all the work I want to do. I want my legs to rest down into my hips and my hips to rest into that bolster. Now, if this whole bolster thing didn't work out, you can do this without anything underneath your hips. That's just fine. If it feels uncomfortable, just get that thing out of there and rest with the legs upward. And then come back into the breath again. Long exhale. Whatever the inhale wants to do. Whatever the inhale wants to do. Long exhale. You might soften the forehead a little bit. Allow the eyes to rest back. Again, really feeling the weight of your legs coming down into the pelvis, resting on the floor, on your support. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring the legs down. If it feels really comfortable, you want to keep the legs up, you're welcome to. And then removing any support you might have underneath you. You can take that support and put it underneath your head. You might not need it quite as high, but it can be really nice for the nervous system to finish up this way, where the head has support, where the chin is allowed to come toward the chest a little bit. I'm not forcing it, but I'm definitely lengthening a little bit more in the back of the neck with the support of my pillow here. And then just continuing that breath of allowing the breath to come in, allowing the breath to go out. And you might just give a little more attention to the out breath, not forcing it, simply giving it attention. Giving yourself this time to rest and assimilate the practice. Sensing the body, contacting your support or the floor. And dropping your awareness into the back body, imagining the forehead soft and wide. A few more breaths here. And then as you're ready, and slowly roll to one side, drawing your knees in. Rather than popping up quickly or moving too quickly here, whatever you have happening will be there in another breath. So taking that breath in and out. And then as you're ready, pressing yourself up to seated, checking in. And then I'll be here if you have any questions, if you'd like to dedicate your practice forward into your day, be sure to make that conscious thought about self-care, about taking care of yourself so that you can be the best person outward to whatever you have to do. So thanks for joining me today. And like I said, I'm here if you have any questions about the practice or about anything else that's been going on for you. And otherwise, I'll see you hopefully in a couple of weeks. And I'll be in person, and I'll be in touch with you via email soon.
Safe travels, Ingrid.
Thank you.
Bye. I was going to say on the one we did, I kept my neck back more and that helped. I didn't have it pulled forward as much. I kept it back more and then it wasn't so tight. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was able to do almost all of it without putting my hands behind my head.
So.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Bye-bye.
good. Yeah.
Safe travels.
Yeah, safe travel.
Good.
Thank you. I will.
Bye-bye.
Good. Yeah. See you all soon.
Bye. Thank you so much, Ingrid.
Yep. You bet.
Happy restoring.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Thanks.
Oh, here. Bye.
Bye, Allison. See you later. Are you doing okay?